Hello guys, Musselwhite here, also known as Crystallized Entertainment, and welcome to this unboxing and eventual impressions of this. The QooCam EGO Kandao. Gee, that's a very difficult name to pronounce. This is a 3D stereoscopic camera that I bought. This one's from secondhand, like most stuff I buy these days from CEX. Now, before we go in, let's go look through the box. Here's the front of the box. You can see it's very reflective. Here's one side of it. Here's the back, which is most of it is obscured from the CEX sticker. Here's the other side, which you can see right here what it's done. Here's the top and the bottom, which all look the same. So then let's get into it. Now, the reason why I got this is actually because me, like so many other people, are very excited about the Vision Pro, and the Vision Pro has, as Apple claims, their first ever 3D camera. Hold up, very nice. And because of that, it made me thinking if there was actually any commercial 3D cameras you could buy, and there's quite not a huge selection, particularly for consumer grade, you know. Well, this one brand new is £359, which is like consumer grade, high end sort of thing. It's like where you get some point and shoots, like what I'm recording this on, the Panasonic FZ100. And I want to use that and try to capture like some of my memories on that, because the idea of it being 3D and then like viewed in like my VR headset, the Valve Index, is really all exciting. Now look at this, like it's what you see when you first open the box. It's this nice little packaging sort of thing. We'll probably have things like manuals, so on and so forth. Actually, bear with me, I'm just going to switch over. There we go, so we've got a better view of the box. So you can see right here is like what you see when you open it. You have the camera itself, and then like the lenses sort of thing. So open this up, you can see like this is every second like thing, and this is how CX packs things, because it's not the material that they typically pack this stuff in. But you can see here is the lens. So your eyes would go there, and then you can using some lensy magic, it turns a flat image on the screen to a 3D stereoscopic thing, so you can see right on the device. It's got a nice bit of heft to it, I'll be honest. Kandao, it's like one of those, not a no-name brand, but it's not a brand I've had before. And the way they advertise it, it seems like very much like those cheap old kind of cameras that you see that are not very good. So I was wary, but this has got weight to it, it's immediately a good sign. And then onto the camera itself. So let's try not to touch this. But again, it has some nice weight to it. Like it has some, like it says, feel quality. The outer side is made out of rubber, so just be aware of that. Like the controller on my old Technica TV, it is very susceptible to grime, so you just have to bear that in mind. But here's the front. Here's the top with the power and record buttons. This side is where like the SD card and probably the battery goes into. The back, which I'm not entirely sure, but that's where the screen is. And finally, but certainly not least, we have a tripod mount, so you can actually mount this on a tripod. It's very much meant to be like a point and shoot sort of thing, but that is all very, very good. And then inside the little secret compartment that's actually in like the camera part, we have the camera strap, and I imagine you would also, in the full thing, would also where you would find the packaging thing to carry this with you, but of course I don't have that because it was second hand, so there was bad things being missing. Overall it looks very nice. You can see where the left and right cameras are, and yeah, I cannot wait to try this. So this is all going to be very exciting if I don't keep touching the lens. So there we go, that's the unboxing portion done. Everything is in order. I don't know if the battery and everything is in there. Oh, I just found like there's 2 additional buttons on this side, which I had missed, which is probably for like for the controls for when you're in the viewer mode, I imagine. So yeah, next up will be in a few months' time when I get to use this camera, and then I can form my impressions about this entire 3D stereoscopic photography sort of thing. Yeah, for you, I'll see you in just a nano. So it has been over a year since the unboxing, and I've been using it for most major occasions such as miniature railway visits and holidays. So I think I have a good idea on the feel of this camera. So let's start with the positives. The 3D effect is really striking. I have taken hundreds of photos, and the way things up close feels really close, and moving your head slightly from side to side and the position changes is a great feeling. It just adds another dimension, pardon the pun, to these capsules in your personal history. Even my relatives I've shown these photos to agree the 3D effect is really pops. I feel it is important to explain how the 3D effect works. It's a little like planes in a CGI scene with a foreground plane, such as people for instance, is visibly separated while the background plane is behind it. This is the conclusion I came to when I first saw the photos in VR. And if you zoom in really close into a person's face, you'll probably notice the lack of depth on the nose. So the 3D effect for objects being close or far really works. But it doesn't quite work on objects that has multiple depth points such as a human. I also like the 3D viewfinder that's included in the box. It has allowed me to show family members the photos I took with the 3D effect in a quick and dirty way. However, when I'm at home I prefer to view the photos in VR. I use DOVR on my Pico 4 as there is limited 3D image viewers for PC VR at the time of writing the script. But in any case, as the image is saved in standard JPEGs with both cameras combined into a single image, it is really cool seeing it blown up in a bigger size and witness the 3D effect in a much better way. But the 3D viewfinder is also a great way to view the photos in 3D if you do not own a VR headset. Another plus point for this camera is its low light performance. I took this photo of Victoria White docked one evening and is perfectly exposed without much grain, even when the sky is pitch black. I've seen the camera handling the contrast of the light on the ship and ferry port to the surroundings of the dark evenings. Now we move on to the cons. Firstly, why I really like the autofocus. It's more accurate to say it's a semi-automatic focus as you need to tap the screen. It does take a while to refocus, and even when that is all said and done, the camera still takes blurry photos every once in a while. I can't say how many photos I had to ditch from my photo album that otherwise would have been great because the photo wasn't in focus. The screen, even with the 3D add-on, isn't a great indicator, and it's not until I upload the photos onto my computer I realise it wasn't in focus. I'm not sure how the camera is determining what you want to focus, if it is contrast based or otherwise. For landscape photos, you're better off not using autofocus and just manually setting the focus to infinite. Trust me. Furthermore, the force required on the buttons to take a photo is pretty high all things considering. And that does mean the camera can move when taking the photo and cause a blurry image, ruining the time it takes to focus anyway. I just tell people now to use the touchscreen when taking photos as your hand can be a lot steadier. Setting the shutter to normal can help, but it's still an issue with my time on the camera. I honestly wouldn't be harking on about a possible blurry image if it wasn't for the fact it looks so much worse in VR compared to a 2D screen. The next issue I had is the lack of image stabilization in the video function. I get it. It's difficult to add something like that when you have two sensors that always needs to be at the same IPD to avoid weirdness in the video. But the one time I recorded video on this camera wasn't the greatest. I naturally have shaky hands, and even when I tried to stay still, me trying to record a waterfall didn't go well, and I can't watch it back in VR without it disorientating me. It's pretty bad. So unless you have a gimbal, a tripod, or more steady hands than I, VR videos is off the table. It's what I would say. But since recording that clip, Kandao has released an update to its firmware that has added image stabilization, so credit where credit is due. And speaking of giving credit where credit is due, the actual image quality of the video was outstanding. This camera takes a long time to power up. I have measured it to be about 19 seconds from pressing down the power button to being able to shoot. A lot slower than most point and shoots. And in what I feel is adding insult to injury, you can't really just leave the camera on for a spontaneous photo due to its short battery life. There is something inside the camera, in between the two sensors, that is drawing an obscene amount of power. So much so that it gets noticeably warm. And I'm still trying to figure out what it could be. My best guess is that it's either the wireless module that I can't turn off, or the camera's SoC. In either case, this power-hungry component is the most likely candidate to the 1 hour battery life I've gotten with my unit. Now, to be fair to the camera, the battery isn't that large, being only rated at 1340 milliamps. However, I feel 1 hour is atrocious when standard portages can do a few hours of continuous power before they need recharging. You can buy more batteries. I just don't think that should be the solution to this problem, personally. So, in conclusion, I really do like this camera despite all of its faults. I know it seems I've had more negative experiences than positive, but I genuinely have enjoyed capturing memories on this device. I am essentially making digital photo albums with this thing, and it has brought me so much joy. And with the Vision Pro having finally dropped since recording the unboxing, Kandao has made a tool to turn the photos and videos captured on this camera to the spatial equivalent for Apple's XR device. And I suspect a similar thing could be done for Looking Glass's hardware. They've also added the ability for raw photos to be taken, which I think is a nice to have. And it's also worth noting there's nothing else like it for consumers. The next cheapest one is at least £1,600, as most of these 3D cameras are aimed either to the prosumer or professional markets. The QooCam EGO is the only 3D point and shoot camera right now, so it's hard not to recommend it when the other options are several £100s more expensive. Basically, I'm saying if you're like me and want to start capturing memories in 3D to view on non-Apple headsets on a budget, then you should grab the QooCam EGO. And on that note, thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.